Accurate, reliable, getting the facts right. News 5 in high definition starts right now.
Good morning and welcome to News 5 WCYB. Today I'm Preston Ayers. 5 o'clock here on your Thursday morning. Have a bit of rain and maybe a storm coming into our forecast. We'll get to David here in just a moment. But right now let's get to some breaking news from overnight as 3 men who were prisoners in North Korea are now back on U.S. soil. A dramatic homecoming in the wee morning hours for these 3. The men had been detained in North Korea and landed at Joint Base Andrews. That's in Maryland just a couple of hours ago this morning. They're accompanied by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on their journey home and then greeted, as you see there on the tarmac, by President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump. Trump first announced that he had secured their release on Wednesday. This comes ahead of a planned summit between President Trump and the North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. Now, they followed the men on the tarmac. The president then had a small impromptu press conference there, talking with reporters briefly. One of the detainees was able to speak about his treatment in North Korea, talking through an interpreter. The 3 men were then left to go to Walter Reed Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. That's where they will continue to receive treatment and will finally reunite with their families. President Trump also speaking of Ardo Warmbier, a last released detainee from North Korea. He died 6 days after coming home. And we're going to continue to follow this developing story this morning here on News 5 Today throughout the next 2 hours here, also online, WCYB.com, and on our social media sites as well. Well, back over to David right now. We have a changing forecast. Most of our region, you're dry out there this morning, but that may change as we work our way through the day today. David, you got even some storms possibly mixing in. Yeah, this morning we're watching a few thunder showers near Knoxville. Those are pushing to the north and east, so expect a passing shower here over the next hour or so around Rogersville. It may hold together into Gate City and Kingsport, but there's even more further back to the west. So here's the future radar. As we go into the lunch hour, a stray shower, and then by around 2 o'clock, some scattered storms popping up. They'll be near I-81 around 3 o'clock, so some quick developing and quick hitting storms later on that could produce some gusty winds and also some downpours in spots. But then by this evening, most of the rain is out of here. Outside now, we're in the 50s and 60s, so it is a mild start, certainly warmer than yesterday morning. We'll see these scattered showers and storms around today. High near 81 degrees, certainly turning windy later on today. And we'll look ahead to the weekend forecast for Mother's Day and show you just how close we're going to get to some record highs here in just a bit. All right, David, we'll see you back in just a couple minutes to learn about that. A Castlewood man now identified as the suspect that was killed by Washington County, Virginia Sheriff's Office on Tuesday night. Deputies saying they recognized 37-year-old Philip Cameron Gibson II and the suspect's vehicle from a gun theft that had been reported on Monday. Gibson took off from a traffic stop, leading officers on a pursuit from Abingdon down into Glade Spring. According to Sheriff Fred Newman, Gibson pulled a weapon and then pointed that at officers after he jumped out of his car. We're told that's when deputies fired. They shot and killed Gibson.
I expect my people to go home every night. We're in a dangerous job as it is, and to confront some of these individuals that do have handguns, I expect my people to protect themselves.
According to records provided by the Sheriff's Department, Gibson has 23 felony convictions ranging from aggravated assault, grand larceny, and gun charges. Virginia State Police are going to turn over a report to the Commonwealth's attorney. Upon completing their investigation, it will be the attorney's decision if the criminal charges will be filed or if it was a justifiable homicide. A David Crockett High School teacher suspended on allegations of possible sexual misconduct with a minor is now facing charges. Charles Dillon Roberts is facing 2 counts of sexual battery. Pardon me. It comes after a presentment from the grand jury. According to the grand jury, the sheriff's office, Roberts turned himself in yesterday morning. He's out of jail on a $5,000 bond. He had been suspended last October without pay following allegations involving a minor that does not attend David Crockett High School. A former Carter County, Tennessee jail worker and brother of Sheriff Dexter Lunsford will avoid prison after pleading guilty to illegal drug charges in Wise County. But 57-year-old Danny Lunsford of Johnson City must complete more than 1,400 hours under a county-run program for low-risk criminals and first-time offenders to avoid 8 years in prison. That's according to Commonwealth's Attorney Chuck Slimp. He said Lunsford will work in the Big Stone Gap area, mowing and cleaning in animal cages at a local shelter. When Lunsford was indicted, his brother allowed him to retire from duty in Carter County, Police reports in Wise County say Danny Lunsford exchanged prescription pills for cash during a drug deal at a convenience store in Big Stone Gap last September. The suspension of admissions lifted at Brookhaven Manor in Kingsport effective yesterday. This comes after numerous health violations were found last month by the Tennessee Department of Health. Health commissioners saying that the follow-up survey of that home found May 1st determined that those conditions have now been corrected. New admissions of residents had previously been suspended and the facility had been fined $12,000. 17 high school students and a teacher injured in a hazmat situation at a Middle Tennessee school. Officials say the injuries were caused by reactions of exposure to chemicals in a science lab in their classroom. Kathleen Siri at our sister station in Nashville has more on the situation as it unfolded.
Around 9 o'clock this morning, Sophia Sisler's last day of high school turned out to be anything but normal.
Ambulances and fire trucks started pulling up, and we were like, what on earth is going on?
That's when Sophia says she saw injured students walking to the nurse's office.
There were kids with a lot of red, some crying and shaking, and there was a lot of red. There was some soot on some of the kids. Some of them had open blisters on their legs already.
17 students and one teacher hurt. Hendersonville Fire Chief Scotty Bush says it happened in a science lab after a chemical reaction gone wrong.
We do not feel like this whatsoever is any kind of attack or any kind of incident where a student did anything. Do not panic about that. We feel like it is something that happened with reaction to chemicals. I'm almost 98% sure of that.
Sophia says during this chaos, she heard the teacher in the room got all of his students out first.
I heard that he was actively burning. His stomach was on fire, and he put the kids all before himself, and he looked each and every kid who was scared and burned in the eye and ushered them out of the room so that they wouldn't get hurt anymore, and he said, "You're going to be okay."
As the story spread, Sophia's mother got a call from her first. But even after that, her next thought went to the parents who didn't get a call.
I was lucky because she called me, and I know that she's okay, but that was my first thought, was other parents, and they're all sitting there thinking, well, was it my kid? You know, what happened?
Still, Sophia says she's proud of the way the school handled everything.
I'm not surprised that the teacher was making sure that the other students got out first, and that other teachers were immediately taking care of their students, and Merrill Hyde is just a giant family.
The investigation into exactly what happened in that classroom is ongoing. The injuries are not expected to be life-threatening. Virginia is among the states selected for a federal pilot program aimed at increasing government and commercial use of unmanned aircraft. The Federal Safety for Transportation announcing the winners yesterday for the 3-year drone program. The day-to-day operations of the program will be managed by the Virginia Tech Mid-Atlantic Aviation Partnership. It runs drone test sites in Blacksburg. Demolition officially now underway on the old Robert E. Lee apartments in Kingsport, part of the city's plan to redevelop its public housing options. And with the swing of the hammer, the project is officially underway to replace those Lee apartments you see there. We've been following the efforts to relocate those residents ahead of the demolition for several months now. The apartments were built in 1940. They're the oldest public housing units in the city. When we get back here, we'll have more on the arrival of the 3 U.S. citizens just released from North Korea. They touched down on U.S. soil overnight. And the latest from the White House, President Trump and the Iran nuclear deal and that constant revolving door. More on that coming up in just a moment. Right now, 10 minutes after 5. Let's talk to David. There's some rain in the forecast, David.
I've been watching a couple of showers in the viewing area. Those have moved out, at least for now. So at this point, dry across southwest Virginia and northeast Tennessee. But we are tracking a few showers just to our west, a few near Bean Station, and also just to the north and east of Knoxville. Had some thunder and lightning with it earlier. A few isolated downpours. So a passing shower possible this morning. The temperatures in the 50s and 60s. A bare chance of scattered showers and storms this afternoon. Highs near 80, turning breezy. We'll forecast coming up.
5:12 as we get back to our top story this morning. 3 Americans held in North Korea are now back in the United States. President Trump confirms the men are traveling back with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, which we saw them land here just a couple of hours ago. Camille Bernal has more on the journey and what it took to bring them home.
3 men imprisoned in North Korea are finally free.
We're honored by the fact that the 3 gentlemen are coming home, seem to be healthy.
Kim Dong-chul had been in custody for nearly 3 years. He was accused of spying. Kim Hak-song and Kim Sang-duk, also known as Tony Kim, were arrested last spring. Both worked at the Pyongyang University of Science and Technology. North Korea said the men carried out hostile acts against the regime. Hak-song's wife says he was teaching rice growing, trying to help North Koreans feed themselves.
I appreciate Kim Jong-un doing this and allowing them to go.
Many see the release as a gesture of goodwill before President Trump meets with Kim Jong-un.
I think there is reason for some optimism that these talks could be fruitful.
Others fear it's a ploy by Pyongyang.
We are happy they have returned, but North Korea shouldn't gain by taking Americans and then releasing them.
The president and vice president will greet the former prisoners when they land at Joint Base Andrews.
To me, it's very exciting because it represents something. It represents something very important to this country.
As the president looks ahead to the possibility of a denuclearized Korean peninsula.
People never thought you were going to have a situation where we're having serious and positive communication with North Korea. And we are. What happens? Who knows? We have a chance at something really great for the world.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal.
President Trump issuing a stern warning to Iran to not restart the nuclear program. The warning comes a day after announcing that the U.S. is pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. The move pits President Trump against powerful U.S. allies who are staying in that deal. The 2015 agreement was aimed at curbing Iran's nuclear weapons program in exchange for sanctions relief. President Trump says Iran must continue living up to their promises of the agreement.
I would advise Iran not to start their nuclear program. I would advise them very strongly. If they do, there will be very severe consequence.
President Trump saying yesterday that the U.S. will initiate new sanctions on Iran. They say that any other country that helps Iran obtain nuclear weapons would be strongly sanctioned as well. Well, as Gina Haspel waits to learn if she is confirmed as the next director of the CIA, several other key positions on the Trump Capitol and Trump administration are still unfilled. Circa's Russ Reed has more on the vacancies.
In a remarkable turn of events, President Trump has agreed to meet with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un by May. But with several positions currently vacant at the State Department, will the U.S. be prepared?
That adds up to a relatively, weak backbench, if you will, for supporting the president.
President Trump has frequently blamed Democrats in the Senate for holding up his appointments. But according to Senator Bob Menendez, of the 163 Senate-confirmed positions to the State Department and USAID, the Trump administration has failed to fulfill its duties to nominate individuals for 65 of these positions.
I don't think it's as big a deal as everybody's making out, although I'm not the one that has to do all the work. But there is a very capable set of officials right now.
That said, Ambassador Joseph Yun, recognized as the department's top North Korea expert, announced his retirement last month, leaving the position of U.S. envoy for North Korea vacant. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson accepted the resignation reluctantly, according to spokesperson Heather Nauert, though she added it will not deter the administration's maximum pressure approach. For Circa in Washington, I'm Russ Reed.
For more information, you can visit circa.com. There's a link on our website, WCYB.com, that'll help you get there. David's stepping in right now to talk about what could be getting in your way if you're headed out of town this weekend. A lot of folks may be traveling for Mother's Day. Our weather looks perfect. What about around the region, though?
Well, going across the southeast, it is going to be warm to just plain hot. Looking at the forecast for Friday, 94 in Savannah, 91 in Nashville. A few pop-up storms, mainly across the higher elevations. Now, Chicago, only 52 for a high on Friday, 71 in New York City, 80 in Washington, D.C. On Saturday, 92 degrees in our nation's capital, near 90 in Cincinnati. Still in the 50s in Chicago, but plenty of heat across the south. We're going to look at our forecast for Mother's Day right after the break.
The Storm Track 5 weather team, alerting you to severe weather danger.
Our next weather maker rolling into the region today, producing some scattered showers and thunderstorms, a few around this morning, then another round as we go into this afternoon. Our severe threat tracker is in the medium alert level. A few of these storms could have some gusty winds and even some hail with them, and also some downpours in spots. Then the rain chances decrease Friday into Saturday, but those high temperatures will continue to increase. Now, we've been watching a few spotty showers over the viewing area this morning and a few scattered thunder showers just to the west of Rogersville and Morristown. This is pushing to the east, so there will be some rains in spots first thing this morning. Then as we fast forward into the afternoon, we're going to see another round of some scattered storms developing to the north and west of the Tri-Cities around 1, 2 o'clock, and then pushing into the Tri-Cities somewhere near I-81 here around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So quickly developing, and there will be some quick hitters. They'll be quickly pushing off to the south and east by around 6 o'clock. Well to the south and east, the Tri-Cities and the mountains, but these are the ones going to have some downpours, gusty winds, and some isolated hail, and then clearing skies this evening. Outside now, partly cloudy over Kingsport, 57 degrees, so comfortably cool, not quite as cool as yesterday morning, and highs today looks to be in the upper 70s to low 80s, just depending on exactly when the rain rolls into your neighborhood. And then tonight, back down in the comfort zone in the 50s. Big picture shows that larger area of rain to our west across middle Kentucky, middle Tennessee, pushing to the east. This is with a cold front that's weakening, but still has enough push to help produce these rain showers and scattered storms. The highest threat of severe weather today to our north and east around Washington, D.C. and New York City, but we are in the marginal risk, meaning isolated severe storms possible northeast Tennessee and southwest Virginia. Looking ahead, activity quickly pushing out this evening. Overnight tonight, possibly a stray shower or two, and then tomorrow in that typical summertime weather pattern, a few pop-up thunder showers dotting the landscape. Chance of rain tomorrow around 30%, dying down into tomorrow night. Now, temperatures are going to be on the increase. Tomorrow, highs are going to be in the low to mid 80s. Looking at Saturday, mid to upper 80s. And then for Mother's Day, 85 in Marion, 90 in Greenville, 91 in Knoxville, and 95 degrees in Greensboro. The heat and humidity on the rise. Now for today, around 81 with scattered showers and thunderstorms, breezy at times, and then lows tonight in the middle 50s. Your Storm Track 5 7-day forecast. Average high is 74. We're going to stay well above that over the next few days. Let's look at some of the record highs that we're going to be approaching. On Friday, forecasting 85, the record's 89. Saturday, 87, the record is 89. On Sunday, 88, the record is 91 degrees. So pretty close all 3 days. Rain chances lower, around 20 to 30%. The widely scattered pop-up thunder showers. Then a bare chance of rain Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, and highs only cooling into the middle 80s, lows around 60, sign of the higher humidity levels. Well, stay with us. News 5 Today continues in a couple of minutes.
The Science Hill baseball team won a perfect 12-0 during conference play in the regular season. Science Hill also won the first 2 games in the conference tournament. Last night, Hilltoppers looking to wrap up a conference title with a win over Tennessee High. Science Hill 3-0 on the season against the Vikings, including a 12-4 win on Monday. Last night, though, Tennessee High up 2-1 in the 4th. Hilltoppers' Zach Copenhaver grounds out with runners on 2nd and 3rd to end the inning. 5th inning, Science Hill would tie the game on this sac fly from Cade McCoy to deep center. This is in the 5th inning, so we're all tied at 2. Now we go to the top of the 6th. The Vikings retake the lead. C.J. Hess, RBI single up the middle. There's the go-ahead run. Tennessee High trying to make it 4-2, but Science Hill guns down the runner at the plate. Bottom 7, Zach Anderson threw a complete game for Tennessee High. The sophomore, outstanding job. Gets David Bryant to fly out to end the game. Tennessee High wins 3-2. These two teams will play again tonight in a winner-take-all game for the conference title. AAA softball championship game, David Crockett Cherokee. Chiefs need 2 wins over the Pioneers. First inning, Faith Webb, sac fly for Cherokee, gives them a 1-0 lead. A runner does get thrown out at 3rd. They're trying to advance. 3rd inning, Cherokee adding to their lead. RBI single from Audrey Mao down the right field line. Cherokee won game 1, 3-2 in 8 innings, but David Crockett won the second one 4-0 to take the conference championship. And don't forget, later tonight is Game 7, winner-take-all in the NHL. The Nashville Predators and Winnipeg Jets. The puck will drop just after 8 o'clock in Smashville. That's for sports. Have a great Thursday.
See if the Predators can turn around that losing streak they've got there at home. Let's go to the Weather Center now to talk to David and what it looks like on the roads out there this morning. David, looks like clear sailing, at least for right now. Windshield wipers needed later on.
Yeah, we're going to be watching a few spotty showers in the region later on this morning and then especially this afternoon, but fairly quiet at this point. A little bit of fog in spots, including in Jonesville, in the 50s and 60s early on. And then highs today, upper 70s to low 80s, scattered storms, some of which could be on the strong side. We'll look down the road coming up.